This is WFYI News Now. It's October 13th, and I'm Zach Bundy filling in for Abriana Herron. On today's show, 2 protests were held on Friday at the Indiana Statehouse, one against cuts to child care funding, and another opposing the Trump administration's push for congressional redistricting in Indiana. And for a decade, WFYI's Small Studio Sessions has opened its doors to the sounds of Indiana.
Indy has a lot of bands really blowing up nationally right now, and that's super exciting, and we're trying to grab as many of those as we can.
Those stories coming up, but first. Indianapolis waterways should be cleaner than ever, thanks to a newly completed construction project deep under the city. Jeremy Rubin has more.
Construction just wrapped on the DigIndy tunnel system, which has been in the works since 2006. It consists of 28 miles of tunnels running 250 feet under Indianapolis. Their purpose is to store and divert over 95% of sewage overflows to keep local waterways from becoming polluted. This amounts to billions of gallons of raw sewage not being pumped into local rivers and tributaries. In total, the project cost about $2 billion. Citizens Energy Group will maintain the DigIndy tunnels in perpetuity. I'm Jeremy Rubin.
A small crowd of mostly women, some with children in tow, gathered on the steps of the Indiana Statehouse on Friday. Dylan Piers-McCoy reports they were there to protest what they say are catastrophic cuts to child care funding.
Indiana slashed public funding for child care this year after temporary federal money ran out. Now centers that serve low-income families have fewer children, and the state is paying them less to care for those kids. Amanda Cox owns 2 child care centers in Martinsville. She's been forced to lay off 2 staff members and cut wages for others.
Wages are the only thing we can cut. Utilities, groceries, mortgages, rent, insurance, none of that can be changed.
It's the first time that 44-year-old Cox has been to a protest. She's afraid the funding cuts will force child care centers like hers to close. I'm Dylan Piers-McCoy.
Also on Friday, protesters rallied at the Statehouse to oppose redrawing Indiana's congressional maps. Vice President J.D. Vance visited Indiana to meet with Republican state senators and add new pressure for the Trump administration's redistricting push. Lauren Chapman reports.
Protesters chanted and tried to gather support for the Republicans who spoke out against redistricting as Republican senators met with the vice president next door. Megan Robertson is the executive director of Indiana Conservation Voters, one of the groups that gathered at the Statehouse. She says the pressure from the Trump administration is nothing more than cheating.
J.D. Vance and all these Washington, D.C. politicians should go back to D.C. President Trump said he was going to drain the swamp, but it seems like he's just bringing it to the states to get us to cheat.
Senate leadership said a decision on redistricting would come soon. For Indiana Public Broadcasting, I'm Lauren Chapman.
And a quick correction for a story in our last episode. We mentioned a watch party would be held at the Rathskeller for the Indianapolis Colts Atlanta Falcons game in Berlin, Germany over the weekend. That game is scheduled to take place on November 9th. And for our final story today. For 10 years, WFYI's Small Studio Sessions has been a stage where local musicians of every genre have found a home. The production has welcomed voices from across Indianapolis: country, hip-hop, classical, jazz, and beyond, building a living archive of the city's creative spirit. Abriana Herron sat down with hosts Melissa Davis and Adam Gross to reflect on the show's journey and its most unforgettable performances.
Melissa, how did Small Studio Sessions come to be?
Tiny Desk was a big influence on Small Studio, of course. The names are similar and, the idea is very similar. But there was a contest at NPR, and it was one of the first, if not the first, Tiny Desk contest, where folks would enter their bands in this contest to try to get a Tiny Desk concert and to go to NPR and record it live. A huge jumpstart for a band or musician's career. And the cool thing, they connected us with the entries. So we had, I think at the time, 64 high quality, good entries from Central Indiana. And it was a great way to kick off the series. It's like, wow, we have all these talented working musicians here in central Indiana. And so with the help of a generous grant from the Herbert Simon Family Foundation, our management at WFYI decided to do this. And so we started recording small studio sessions.
How has the program evolved over the past 10 years?
Yeah, it's changed a lot. We used to record kind of scaled down sessions, very reminiscent of the Tiny Desk, where we would try to do things more acoustically. And over the years, we have gone into full bands, and we invite folks to bring their instruments. Adam came on as our audio engineer. So we've really grown the series over the years, where I think the central Indiana music community knows about small studio sessions, and they're happy to be involved.
Adam, as one of the artists who has been a part of small studio sessions, why do you think it's important to highlight and showcase Indiana musicians?
My band, SM Wolf, we have toured all over the country and the world. We toured in Japan. To book shows, I would always put the small studio session as the reference for this is what we look like live, this is what we sound like live. It's hard as a band, especially a local band with no budget, to get a high quality recording, audio and video, and especially to get it out there with any hope for views. So WFYI doing this and getting the production side taken care of and then using our platform is huge. It's a great thing for bands to share, for booking, for reaching out to record labels, and to help them grow their audience and careers.
Looking back, are there any performances that stand out as especially memorable or meaningful to you?
I always think of the first one with the Reverend Payne's Big Damn Band, because we were learning and they were so patient with us. And they really did a great session. The audio sounds fantastic.
Some fellas with the work on their clothes come in to have some lunch. They started catching some grief.
And I'm a big fan of Kristen Newborn, who went by Co during her small studio session. I think she's one of the best musicians in Indianapolis, an amazing singer, a fantastic writer. So I'd like to listen to her session just for fun.
I would say Bless. Bless was such a great session. I mean, it's a super group of Indianapolis legends at this point, and they do something that no one else has ever really done quite like they do it, I think. Hip-hop mixed with ambient, experimental rock music, and we recorded them down in the big studio, and it was vibrant, it was loud, it was intense, and it turned out really well.
Drop to the floor, got a long way to go. Cold shoulder, ball rolling on, made of snow. Fire in the jungle, coming down the chimney with the smoke. Yelling chitter, chitter, bang, bang, tell me where to go.
What do small studio sessions look like in the future?
I think we're just going to keep going, you know. I look forward to seeing the bands that are going to sprout up around the city. These bands are making such great music and they're coming up all over the place. So it's cool to see what is going to be played next.
Yeah, India has a lot of bands really blowing up nationally right now, and that's super exciting. And we're trying to grab as many of those as we can and get them in here, but also keep an eye out for the, smaller bands that are just starting out that are really good. We've been recording some smaller, more low-key performances for Small Studio Signal Boost, which has kind of been a nice way to keep the momentum going while not having to use the full crew. So excited to see what we do there too.
And we keep doing our Small Studio Signal Boost show, which is kind of based upon the series. We'll keep playing great music on there and celebrating our Indiana-based artists.
All right, well, thank you.
That's all for today's episode of WFYI News Now. Our podcast is produced by me, Zach Bundy, with support from the news team at WFYI and public media journalists across the state. Our news director is Sarah Neal-Estes. Kendall Antron produced our music. If you liked today's episode, remember to subscribe and share, and follow WFYI on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube to check in on our newsroom throughout the day. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back tomorrow.